This morning, Mr Cooke has come back to visit Kingsley to talk to us about his work with the Rotary Club and some upcoming competitions for our pupils. But very interestingly, Mr Cooke worked here between 1981 and 1990 as our Bursar.
That's right, yeah.
So we've just had a wonderful conversation. And did you want to tell everybody about all the things you did when you were here working?
Oh, I had great fun as a Bursar, yes. Apart from, yes, I enjoyed it so much. I used to take part in all the Mile of the Night visitors in the small hall, which had a stage in those days, and also took part in theatricals over in the sports hall at the time. And I do remember I used to do all the things that all the strange things that young ladies used to get up to, including being asked once, will you sponsor me? To which I said yes. And that was 8 minutes in the sea at Westford Ho in February.
Gosh, chilly times.
No, I enjoyed it, and I did a tremendous amount, as interesting enough, for several years, every weekend out with the 10 tours and Duke of Edinburgh Award young ladies, and that was quite something. I can still remember that so much. The young ladies were so cheerful and so good. Beat the boys at Chebe, very hand over fist. But no, we had a time of expansion, a time of sadness. The sadness, we lost our head mistress through illness, and we lost our our assistant PE mistress, and the PE mistress that was coming in an avalanche in Sasvay. And if you look at the sports hall, there is a plaque still there. We built a lot. We like the sports hall.
So that was built during your tenure.
That was it. Yes. With an architect, we designed it. We went all over the country looking at heating and looking at this and looking at flooring. There's still one regret. But the builder, when he built it, in fact, didn't build the necessary expansion places in the walls, and so even today I think you'll probably see cracks in the various walls because there wasn't a one built in. The home economics block, which is there's a plaque. I noticed there's a plaque still on it.
That's still very much in use.
The junior school classrooms, they're there.
The Wakefield.
And the Wakefield building.
Yes, yeah.
The Mary Shaw building, that was totally. The new head's house, which is called, I can't remember.
Belvoir Lodge.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. That was the chaplain's house. Then.
Okay.
That was the chaplain then. And no, there's a new head house at the back of one of the previous boarding houses.
Okay,
down the
that's
way.
possibly one of our boarding houses now.
Down there, the all-weather playing surface, which was good.
That must have been pretty revolutionary at the time.
It was quite revolutionary,
yes.
And it was a great asset, in fact.
Yes.
I think afterwards, one of the, despite all the compacting, one of the banks fell down. But apart from that, that was great. And the boarding houses, well, in those days, Kiltresna was still there, of course. Beaver was there, and which I know so well because my two daughters were in there for many years, and two other buildings as well. This was before the fire. That came after, thank goodness, after I had, which followed a fire, of course, the famous fire if you get the old Mary Shaw's history of Edge Hill. Have you got this, by the way?
Yes, we'll have it in our archives.
Yeah, yes. It's absolutely fantastic. It talks about the fire then when the whole of the top floor went. No, we didn't have a fire. We had all sorts of other problems. And I was just telling your head of marketing, is that right? Head of marketing that, in fact, there's a tunnel runs under
right underneath
the building on the corner.
We might keep that as a secret.
Keep it as a secret. It's perfectly safe. It's an overflow for a flood in Kenwith Valley and comes out in the valley on the Kenwith side over there. I'm trying to think about the things. All the trees. I planted the trees at the far side of Beaver as a block to stop planted trees there to stop Londonderry Farm encroaching on this. Now, of course, it's a forest. And one of the interesting things was that when we were there, my clerk of works and myself went up to see the foreman who was building the Londonderry buildings, and we said, you do remember that Edge Hill has a little slip of land which I found in a solicitor's office in Bideford, that Edgehill has the right to go onto the Aversham Road. You can go and find it one day. Whether it's still there, it's not. I don't think it's been built on. It had the right to go onto the road with engines and horses and something else. It's still in this one. And the woodland below Beeford, Beaver as well.
That's looking tremendous, because we do a lot of outdoor learning and forest schools, so we do use the woodland.
One of the things I had to do was to go through all the trees, and sadly, of course, many were planted in the Victorian era when the school was first built in 1984. 1984. The church was built in 1908. That's right.
Yeah.
And the church, of course, church services, and all the boarders all trooped to church every Sunday under the watchful eye of Miss Wakeford, Miss Crawford, the senior housemistress, who then used to sit up by the pulpit
and look
and
down
watch
on everyone.
everything that the girls did, every movement that they make, every note they pass between each other, as young ladies do.
The Methodist Church is a brilliant building, isn't it?
It's a huge building. It's a wonderful. I've just been in there this morning. It's a lovely, lovely building inside. Yes, there's Warren's there.
So, generally fond memories of your time here?
Yes, it was. Lucy. It wasn't a busy time at the start. There was time to do things somehow or other. Time to relax. If I went to the bank, I had time to walk down to the town and go to the bank, on school business and come back again. But even by the time I finished, the pace of life had increased, and there wasn't time to do this and there wasn't time to do that, and goodness knows what it's like in school today. I dread to think, but it must be horrific to try and cope with everything that has to be done.
Well, it's been fascinating chatting to you this morning and hearing everything that was happening in the 80s here at school. Obviously it was Edgehill College then, it's now Kingsley, but obviously during your tenure here you pushed the school forward, tremendous growth, tremendous investment, and we're still using many of those buildings today, so thank you very much.
Okay.